Alright, this right here is a OnePlus Nord 2T, and I've been using this phone for a while now, and it's obviously a different kind of a device. And the reason I say that is because usually I play mostly with flagship devices. And a lot of times when people buy phones around 30,000, they expect flagship-like experiences. And the Nord 2T is not your flagship killer or supposed to offer your flagship-like features. And sure, the Dimensity 1300 is a very capable processor here, but by no means is it a flagship processor. But the question is, should that really bother you? I mean, after 2 months, the phone has received quite a lot of updates, and of course, this is a long-term review. Multiple people in my team have been using it, and we all have one single thought. What is that thought? That is this video. This is one from GTR and you're watching my long-term review of the OnePlus Nord 2T, and in this video we'll just be talking about whether the phone is worth picking up right now or not. Let's get started. Alright, so right off the bat, let's start by talking about the design here. Now we have the black color variant with us, and personally this is my favorite option. And in terms of the design, it's comparatively a compact device if you compare it with most of the competitors in the same price segment. And personally, I find that to be a nice thing. The device fits in your hand like a glove. It's quite ergonomic, and the curves here on the sides really add on to the grip of the device. The back panel here has a very subtle shine to it, basically makes the device look a little bit more premium without having to compromise on the quality. Alright, now if we talk about the protection, the phone comes with Corning Gorilla Glass 5 protection both on the front and the back of the device. Now one thing I would like to point out is that the chin of the device is a bit bigger and the camera bump is, unnecessarily large. Speaking of buttons, it's worth highlighting that the Nord 2T is one of the rare devices that actually comes with the alert slider. Now I don't know for how long things will remain this way, but yeah, it's nice to see that OnePlus is offering an alert slider, at least on their budget device. Alright, so moving along, let's talk about the display. The phone comes with a 6.43-inch Full HD Plus Fluid AMOLED panel with a refresh rate of 90Hz. It comes with support for HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and HLG, and there's also support for wideband L1. However, HDR performance is limited to YouTube only, because even after 2 months, the HD option on Netflix still hasn't been enabled. Now, as far as outdoor legibility is concerned, it's pretty good considering it's an AMOLED panel, but of course it's not the best one out there. Nonetheless, you should not have any complaints per se. Now, of course, I know a lot of people would like to point out the fact that for a 30,000 rupee device, 90Hz is, not up to the market standards. And to that, I'll just say the same thing that I've always been saying. 90Hz is the sweet spot when it comes to balancing fluid experience with good battery backup. And once you start using it, you really won't have to care much about it. And this comes from a person who daily switches between 144Hz, 120Hz, and 90Hz. So yeah, trust me when I say this, 90Hz is still damn good and you won't really notice any issues. You would still find the phone's user experience quite fluid, quite dynamic, and the best part here is that you still end up saving a lot of battery juice. Aiding the display department are the dual stereo speakers, which sound great, are good enough to watch some content on the phone, and the best part here is that the sound does not distort at all. Alright, so next up, let's talk about these cameras here. Now the OnePlus Nord 2T comes with a 50MP OIS primary sensor coupled with an 8MP ultrawide sensor and a pretty pointless 2MP monochrome sensor. Up front, you had a 32MP sensor for selfies. Now, here's the thing, I won't be dwelling too much into detail about the camera performance of the device because I'm sure you've seen all of the other reviews already. Instead, what I will be talking about is how the camera performance has been improved with all of the updates that the phone has received. Starting with the daylight shots, what we've seen is that while the shots are quite close to reality, they have a slight pinch of vibrance, which really adds on to the photo and makes it look a bit more appealing. The shots are also more detailed and better structured now. Of course, the biggest improvement that we've seen is in terms of HDR performance. Earlier, the phone used to showcase inconsistent results, where sometimes it used to struggle with extreme highlights and shadows, whereas right now, results are far more balanced, and that is pretty good. The same can be said for selfies. The camera hardware in itself is quite capable already, and with the new updates, what we've seen is that skin tones have become a bit more natural, the reddish tint has gone, and the overall picture quality has become far more sharper as well. In fact, I would dare say that I like the selfie camera here more than the OnePlus 10T. As for videos, like I said, the phone comes with OIS, which although is limited to 1080p 60 fps recording, but it's quite stable. And as you can see on your screen, the video performance is pretty good for this device. Alright, so next up, let's talk about the performance of the phone. Now, like I said, the phone comes with a MediaTek Dimensity 1300 processor coupled with UFS 3.1 storage. Now, MediaTek Dimensity 1300 is basically similar to Dimensity 1200, which was there on the OnePlus Nord 2. And as you can see from the benchmarks that are on your screen, the performance is pretty good, but it's not like a massive jump from the Nord 2. However, the major difference here is that now you get MediaTek Hyper Engine 5.0, which basically aims to improve your gaming performance. Speaking of which, gaming on the OnePlus Nord 2T is a pretty good experience. The games run at the highest settings with pretty stable and consistent frame rates, and you don't really notice any sort of lags or hiccups there. Of course, the device does heat up a little bit, but I would call it warm, not overheating or hot, something like that. With that being said, it's not all merry with the device. For instance, the CPU does throttle to a massive extent, as you can see on your screen right now. But that is obviously when you try and stress test the device. For a day-to-day usage, the phone is as good as it gets. Apps open very snappily, everything works very well, the RAM management on the device is pretty good. And yeah, as a daily driver, the OnePlus Nord 2T definitely does not disappoint. And a major credit to that goes to the software department. See, what we've seen recently with OnePlus is that their software experience has been pretty shabby. And no, I am not talking about using ColorOS as a base. I personally do not mind that. I still love it because I am a fan of ColorOS. So whether it's ColorOS or Realme UI or Oxygen OS for that matter, I really don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is when it comes to stability. And that is one issue that I've highlighted multiple times in my previous OnePlus reviews. However, with the OnePlus Nord 2T, I'm happy to say that there are no issues in terms of stability here. The software experience has been bug-free from day one and has continued to stay so even after all of the updates that have come. Usually we see if an update tries to fix something, they usually roll out a new issue. That hasn't been the case with the Nord 2T. Touch wood. Lastly, we have the battery life. Now, the OnePlus Nord 2T comes with a dual cell 4500 mAh battery, and in my testing, the phone easily lasted an entire day of heavy usage while delivering a screen on time of roughly 6 to 7 hours. Of course, the major attraction here is the new 80 watts of fast charger, which basically is a bump up from the 65 watt charger, which was there on the OnePlus Nord 2. The charging speeds here are great, and essentially you can get a full charge of the device within 30 to 40 minutes. With that being said, there has been some cost cutting, which is the fact that the earlier 65 watt charger that came with the OnePlus Nord 2 did support USB PD as well. So essentially you could use that charger to charge up, well, all of your USB-C devices. With the 80 watt charger that comes with the OnePlus Nord 2T, that is not the case. That charger does not have much use case outside charging the OnePlus Nord 2T, which is kind of a shame. Which brings us to the verdict. Is the OnePlus Nord 2T worth it? Well, the device technically starts at Rs 29,000 because, as you would expect, the 6GB variant hasn't been available since God knows when. So yeah, let's just talk about the realistic options, which is the starting price of 29,000. And at that price, I would say that yes, it's not the best gaming phone under 30,000. It's not the best camera phone under 30,000. It's not the best display device under 30,000 because yes, it still lacks HDR inside Netflix. But what it is that it's the best all-rounder device. It basically is the jack of all trades and it kind of checks all of the boxes. The design is great, ergonomic and feels premium. The display, even though it lacks Netflix HDR certification as of now, still is a pretty capable display. The camera is quite good and in fact has gotten better with the updates and is still one of the best performers out there. The MediaTek Dimensity 1300 is great. I mean, if you don't really care about CPU throttling numbers, as a day-to-day performer, it's a great device to use. And the battery backup is pretty amazing too. So yeah, at the end of the day, if you're struggling to choose between multiple options, like whether you want a gaming phone, whether you want a best camera phone, just pick this one up. It's the safest option out there. And well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Till then, this is One from GTR and I'll see you in the next one.